welcome to our show today, Healthy Living. I'm Kayleen Cornell, Health Education Coordinator for the Purchase District Health Department. We are going to talk today about a program that helps a smoker become a non-smoker. For every person who dies of a smoking-related death, 20 more suffer from a chronic disease due to smoking. We also know smoking doesn't just hurt the person who smokes, but the secondhand smoke from your cigarette is a serious danger to your baby that is not born yet, your children, family, and friends. I am joined today with Jennifer Doom, also from the Purchase District Health Department, and is a health educator and tobacco coordinator. Jennifer, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about this program that helps a person go from a smoker to becoming a non-smoker?
Well, thank you for having me today. And yes, I am a health educator and the tobacco coordinator. I have worked for the health department for 4 years, and I'm married, and I have a beautiful little 2.5-year-old little boy. And in the last year, I have become the tobacco coordinator, and that is a very important message that I have a heart for, because my grandfather died of secondhand smoke. He had never smoked at all in his life, and he did die of lung cancer. So I learned at a very young age that secondhand smoke was you know, real, and that it really did have side effects, and it really could cause death. I don't think very many people believe that.
Yeah.
And then a year ago, my uncle had been a smoker since he was 8 or 10 years old, every day, and he actually died at 48 years old. And he smoked even the last day he was here on earth. And so that really gave me an eye-opener that nicotine really was addictive, and it had all these properties that you couldn't just willpower over.
Yeah.
You couldn't just decide, tomorrow I'm not going to pick it up again. Even with the fact that he was going to die, it didn't change the fact that it was a very hard thing for him to quit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is always so hard to lose someone to a disease that could have been preventable.
Right.
You know, that's hard. Are there more people today smoking than there are in recent years? What are studies showing?
Well, studies are really showing that actually since about 1965 we have been on the decline. We have about 56% less men smoke now, and about 42% less females. But that does not mean that we have overcome the smoking epidemic. It is still a real problem today.
Yeah, it has helped that quite a few states have gone.
Right, yes, the statewide smoking bans have definitely helped.
Yeah. What are some of the health risks that we see from smoking? I know one of them, matter of fact, that we are promoting here is, you know, women who smoke. It is shown that babies have wheezing more than you know, ones that don't have smoking moms. So can you tell me some other risk factors?
Yeah, well, for just the babies alone, they're going to be more likely to have ear infections, they're going to be sick more often, and they always have a chance that the babies are going to have a low birth weight. We also know that it's one of the factors of SIDS, but there's also things for adults such as cardiovascular disease and emphysema. Those are all very real issues that we constantly see. Right,
yeah. What is the name of the program that our health department is promoting?
Okay, we use the Cooper Clayton Stop Smoking Method, and it is we've been using it for about 9 years now at the health department. It is a great program. It was written by 2 doctors, Dr. Cooper and Dr. Clayton, and Dr. Cooper had been a smoker for 36 years, and he smoked between 30 and 40 cigarettes a day, and he really just finally wanted to quit. So he asked his good friend, Dr. Clayton, who was an addiction specialist, to help him work and create a program. So they worked the program just really to make Dr. Cooper become a non-smoker. But then it worked, and several of the members of their Sunday school class decided also to try it, and it worked for them. And then now, today, we have thousands of people that are non-smokers by using the program.
that's pretty amazing to think. You know, I mean,
Right.
you wonder kind of if people put a program together because, you know, they think it'll work and they, you know, are promoting it and advertising about it. But this is a program that was written to help someone specifically, and that it was successful.
Right.
So, you know, that's great. How long does the program last? Is it a couple weeks?
It's actually going to be 13 weeks. You would meet one time a week, and during that it would be about 45 minutes to an hour long.
Okay. So we're not asking, 13 weeks is a long time. You know,
Right.
I agree with that. But we're not asking a long time commitment. You know,
Right.
I mean, 45 minutes for something that is as important than this. You know,
Right. We also know that you're more likely to relapse in the first 12 weeks of quitting smoking. So that is actually the reason why it is 13 weeks long. We help them through that initial troublesome relapse period.
And that's a huge part of
Right.
that, you know, journey and process of becoming a non-smoker.
Yes.
Who can come to these classes, and how often are they offered?
Okay. Anyone can come to the classes. They're free. They're open to the public. They're either held at the health departments or at the hospitals. And right now we are gearing up for our August classes. We're going to be having 3 start in August. Ballard County Health Department is going to be hosting one. Carlisle County Health Department will be hosting another. And then Western Baptist will be hosting one. If you want to, if you're interested in signing up for a class, if you'll just contact the health departments themselves, or you can call the Kentucky Cancer Program, and you can sign up either one of those ways.
Yeah, and I know we have the information on the screen for the viewers to get this information. And like you said, always can call your health department or KCP. Is there, you know, we've talked about that this program is successful. Is there a guarantee of absolute, you can come do this and it'll work?
I wish I could say that. I would give anything if I could say that. But no, there's no program that's going to have a 100% guarantee. However, statistics do show us that this program really does give you the best chance at becoming a non-smoker. If we looked at 100 people and if 5 of those had quit cold turkey, that's all that would be non-smokers a year from then. However, if they use the Cooper Clayton method, we're going to see numbers like 20 to 40% of that. So it is a much higher number, but yet those numbers should be an eye-opener to let you realize that it is not easy to become a non-smoker.
Right, right. And the word quit, you usually don't hear people who are smoking saying, you know, I really want to quit.
Right.
You know, or if they do say that, you know, maybe they're thinking they really can't do it. You know, they may have the desires, but, you know, maybe they have that fear that they can't. So how is that covered in the class?
Well, Drs. Cooper and Clayton really push strongly that none of the facilitators are allowed to use the word quit. Because if you ask anyone if they want to quit smoking, they're going to tell you no. They have no desire to quit smoking. But what they are, we really try to focus on the fact that they will be better off as a non-smoker. We want them to really grasp that that is their concept. And we want to just help them through that journey.
Right, yeah. What happens during a typical meeting? We've already talked that it takes about 45 minutes. What could a person expect in a class period?
Well, we would begin, as a facilitator, we try to make sure we begin on time each time. And we welcome the members to the class, and we allow them to kind of share what their experience of the week had been. Did they have any challenges, any struggles, or what were some really great encouraging things that happened? And then we watch a video with the doctors that actually tell us what we expected to happen this week or maybe in the upcoming weeks.
Okay. All right. So it really does help the people that are struggling during the week with whatever issue, that they can come to the table and say, listen, this is what happened to me. You know, anybody else? Is it happening to any of you? And that kind of support can help their progress. Well, we do have a clip of the tape, and like we say, you know, they they are the experts. They wrote the program. They know how to teach it so the people can understand it the best. And so we would like to share with our viewers just a little bit, and not that you're going to watch a whole video here, but just a little clip of it so you can understand it.
My name is Tom Cooper. I'm a retired professor of dentistry. I was a cigarette smoker for 36 years. I attempted to become a non-smoker a number of times. Finally, in 1984, I was able to successfully make the transition from smoker to non-smoker.
And I'm Dick Clayton. I'm a sociologist. My area of expertise is illegal drugs, marijuana, heroin, and cocaine. Since 1984, I've been involved with what is probably the most addictive drug we know anything about, nicotine. Tom Cooper and I developed the Cooper Clayton Method to stop smoking to help you make the same journey Tom did from smoker to non-smoker with minimal discomfort.
There are 5 drugs that act in a similar fashion in the user's body: heroin, cocaine, alcohol, marijuana, and nicotine. All of them are psychoactive, which means they work on the brain. They are euphoriants, which means they make the user's brain feel like a party is going on. They are reinforcing, which means they always produce the effect the user wants. They cause tolerance to develop, which means that over time it takes more of the drug to produce the desired effect, and they produce withdrawal symptoms when the user suddenly stops providing the drug to the body. You are beginning a very exciting journey. It's not an easy journey, but you will find it to be a manageable journey. There are no quick fixes for heavy smokers. There are no programs in which you can bite a magic bullet and become an instant non-smoker. But I promise you, if you follow the program that we will describe for you, you can become a non-smoker, and more important, you can remain a non-smoker for life.
All right, well, now you've met the doctors who wrote the program. Jennifer, what makes this program unique compared to, because there's other programs,
Right.
American Lung Association has a program, and there's other programs out, but why would the Public Health Department choose this one, do you think?
Well, one thing that I think, there are many factors, but one of the main ones is the fact that Dr. Cooper himself was a former smoker of 36 years. And so with the experience of being a smoker, plus going on the journey himself and becoming a non-smoker, and then also having Dr. Clayton, which is, the addiction specialist, I think that adds a lot to the program. So there's a lot of science behind it, but they also use having the expert teaching time group, and then also having the nicotine replacement therapy along with that. I think that's what makes the program so unique and very successful.
Right, yeah, so we have good resources.
Right.
Yeah. Who facilitates the group?
Okay. Anyone that has been a non-smoker for at least 6 months is allowed to be a facilitator. We do different trainings throughout the year, and they last about 6 hours. We try to do it where the morning is for the new facilitators, and then the afternoon that the current facilitators come and get updated, as well as getting to kind of give some of their wisdom to the new facilitators.
Okay, so anyone who is watching this program today, for instance, and feels that their passion is in this area, and they would like to possibly be trained and volunteer their time, how can they?
They can contact me
part?
at the health department, or they can call any of the local health departments, and they'll be happy to send their name to me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've talked about that Dr. Cooper and Dr. Clayton do the teaching during the 45-minute, or at least during the first part of the meeting time. Who trains the facilitators then?
They actually come themselves and train us. So we actually get to meet Dr. Cooper and Dr. Clayton. They actually travel to every training. So there is not a facilitator that has not been trained by them. So that adds a lot of a personal touch, as well as to show their passion for it.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that just shows, like you said, you know, I mean, it's good follow through. You know, not only have they written it, but they're there for teaching and resources.
Right.
What would be the facilitator's role?
The main role of the facilitator is to be the aid to help them on this process, on this journey. You want to encourage them. You also try to keep it on track as much as possible, because we try to be respectful of their time.
Right.
And it is just such an important role for us to just really feel like we are holding their hand and helping them through this journey as much as we can.
So it is a structured time period,
Right.
to keep it within that 45 minutes, but it's not necessarily just coming in, lecturing to you, and then leaving. You know,
No, not
there's
at all.
a whole lot more to it.
We really try to ask them, you know, what are you struggling with this week? How can we help you? And the group as a whole get to give their own opinions, and it's so great to hear somebody say, I'm struggling so bad with this, and then the person right across them say, me too.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you opened up and said that. So there's never a wasted class. They're
So
great.
it really becomes like a support group in a way.
Absolutely.
You know, obviously there is knowledge where they're going to be learning, and they're going to get tools to be able to, you know, make it through the week, but it definitely is some of that camaraderie.
One of the benefits of the fact that it's at your community. It's in your community, so you have a support already there. And so it's great to be able to know that you're going to go to the grocery store and see somebody that's going to ask you, hey, how's it going? Are you having a good week? So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you be a facilitator if you've never smoked?
Yes, you can be just as effective as a facilitator, whether you've been a smoker or not. I tend to believe that actually the smokers in the room, they've had years of experience of being a smoker, but they haven't had experience of being a non-smoker. So it's a great thing that you're getting to give them, as well as the fact that you're not the one that's teaching the class. It is actually Dr. Cooper and Dr. Clayton, and they are the experts.
Right, yeah. And if there's any question that the facilitator wouldn't be able to answer, we can find that answer.
Absolutely. You know. Dr. Cooper and Dr. Clayton are always available for us to email them or call them. And we also partner very closely with the Kentucky Cancer Program. They've been doing this for many years, and they're great supports.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Jamie is really good to, I mean, you can just call her and she's able to come up with whatever problem solving or, you know, whatever idea.
Exactly.
Now, you've mentioned nicotine replacement, or otherwise known as NRT. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Drs. Cooper and Clayton really believe strongly in three main NRTs, which are the Nicoderm CQ patch, the Nicorette gum, and the Commit lozenge. He is very specific on that you must use the name brand kinds. They are the specific ones with the most research that we know that would give you the best chance of becoming a non-smoker. And during the second week of the class, that is when they're really going to focus on telling you the pros and cons of each one of those and letting you as an individual decide which will be best for you.
Okay, all right. A lot of times with medications, once they're prescribed, we go to our pharmacist and they will suggest generic or even, you know, give you generic because the insurance or whatever, you know.
Right.
What about generic with this NRT?
Right. So Dr. Cooper and Clayton do not support that we use a generic. They just do not feel like the research is there to back it up that it is as effective. Every one of them kind of have a little bit different way they're made or ingredients that they use. And he just believes that based on the scientific research that we must use the name brand kinds.
Okay, all right. And that's, that's one of the things, where they, with the research and it just goes to show that when it's a program that has been, worked on and changed and promoted for as long as Cooper Clayton has been going, that they know what the right product is. And yet you still have a choice. They're not saying,
right,
this is what you need to do, because we're all individuals and,
right,
and our bodies respond differently.
Exactly.
So if they try one type and then decide, this isn't beneficial, maybe they've chosen the gum or they've just chosen the patch and it's really not benefiting them, what happens then?
Well, they normally come in a 2-week supply. So we might tell you to just try it out for the whole 2 weeks and see if it works, and then but it's completely fine to change to a different kind after that.
Okay, all right. Well, what are some of the other issues that the program addresses? We just, talked about that for over the 13 weeks. There's, we talk different issues each week. So what would you say is some of the most beneficial ones?
Some of them that I think that the class get the most out of are when we talk about stress and how to handle stress, because a lot of people think that you use smoking to relieve stress. But Drs. Cooper and Clayton actually show us how really smoking did not relieve our stress. It actually causes us more stress. But our bodies just, as humans, we just try to come up with other reasons why we're reacting the way we are. But actually, it teaches us what else to use in its place. Maybe we need to pick up the habit of reading or going for walks, different things like that. Maybe even deep breathing, just whatever, a new way for you to try to relieve stress. We also talk a lot about exercise and physical activity and nutrition, because as all people that are smokers decide, they don't want to quit smoking because they're going to gain weight. So we address, okay, what can we do to combat that from the very beginning? And so we incorporate walking. Is what the doctors recommend. And it's something easy, something everyone can do, but yet you're going to be able to keep those extra pounds off.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and when you talk about, people being concerned about gaining weight, is there a week that you cover nutrition also?
Yes, we also talk about nutrition. Mostly, one of the things they're going to do, instead of smoking, they're probably going to pick up another habit. And a lot of them pick up maybe eating junk food or something like that. So we really encourage them to try apples or just pay attention to what they're looking for. One of the biggest changes that most of them say that they'll see is their food's going to taste entirely different now. Something that they once loved, maybe they don't like anymore, or food tastes very salty. So every week is a new experience for them. They're doing new things with their friends. Maybe they're able to now go somewhere they were never able to go before, on a trip for a weekend where you weren't allowed to smoke, but they wouldn't even go because that would be an issue. And now they have a whole new world open up to them.
Right, yeah, because nicotine does impact the taste buds and the other senses, as far as smell.
Yes.
How have you heard people comment about, like, for instance, taste?
Taste. Definitely that food tastes a lot more salty. They're also going to comment on maybe it's not as sweet, or they liked chocolate before, but now it tastes bitter to them. It's just really interesting to see how everybody's different about that. But smell is another thing. They'll almost always, the 3rd or 4th week, somebody will come in and say, I got behind a lady at the grocery store that was a smoker, and oh my goodness, she smelled so bad. And they just don't realize that they smelled that bad, or that it really was that odor. And so one of the first things we really encourage them to do once they actually are not smoking anymore is clean out their cars, repaint their house, get new carpet, do different things to get that smell out of their house. And plus, they're spending money on something that's useful and they can enjoy the benefits of as well.
Right, yeah. And money is an issue. I know with nicotine replacement, we've heard people comment of, it's expensive. you know, and some of our health departments have a program. You want to talk about the ASAP?
Yeah, we partner with the ASAP board, and what they do is they actually cover the nicotine replacements in several of our counties. We also have a few counties that they do not cover, that maybe we don't even have an ASAP board in those counties. So if you're curious about that and if that program will work for you, then you would just be able to call the health department or the KCP, and they would be able to let you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think, you know, up front, the cost seems really expensive, you know, but if you look at it over time, you know, how much will it take? And in the program, this is one of the exercises.
Right. One of the first days that we're all together, we ask them, how much did you spend on cigarettes this week? And they'll tell us. And then we'll say, okay, well, let's multiply that and make it how much you spend a month. And then we'll do it a year and maybe 5 years or 10 years and really let them realize how much money they were wasting. And we really encourage them that once we become non-smokers, that you start putting that same money back and buy yourself something that you really wanted to. Go on a cruise, redo your house. I even had one last time that wanted to buy an iPad. So they just find little rewards along the way that really encourage them as well.
Right, yeah. Another good thing about this program is the relapse prevention. How, can you talk a little bit about how that really helps the person?
Well, one of the things that I talked about earlier was the fact that it is 13 weeks long. We do know that if they're going to relapse, more than likely it's going to be in those first 12 weeks. We also just talk about ways to, by the end of the 13 weeks, hopefully we've made lots of lifestyle changes. We've also figured out what our triggers are and learned how to avoid those. And so it's just a great, we normally do it like the last week or second to last week. We talk about just what are some ways that we're going to be able to continue this and what happens if we do relapse? Is it the end of the world? What can we do? And it's just really encouraging to know that, you know, sometimes it does take more than one try, but that we're here and we're here to support each other, and it's really cool. They all are mostly friends for a long time after this.
Good. Well, I think having the support, learning, you know, the skills and the tools on what to do when certain emotions or feelings, you know, come up, and just having the knowledge base of how to go through this process of becoming a non-smoker is so important. And this is one of the things that we see in our community with smoking and all of the risk factors that come from that. If anyone you know, feels that they are ready to become a non-smoker, we would love to have you, you know, call the health departments, and we have the graphics up here of the, you know, phone numbers, but definitely call, you know, the health department or KCP to find out when a class near you is going to be going on. And any last comment that you would want to say about why someone should pick up the phone and call?
Well, I just kind of steal a little bit from Dr. Clayton and Dr. Cooper. They always say that, you know, becoming a non-smoker is not an easy journey, but it is a doable one. And I love this program because I think it really does show you that anybody can become a non-smoker.
Absolutely. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.